Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India NewsHour, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next hour, Iran and the United States hold second round of high-stakes nuclear talks in Rome. Hopes for de-escalation mounted by threats. US Supreme Court temporarily halts deportations of Venezuelan migrants under wartime law after ACLU says Venezuelans put on bus for deportation without proper review. India slams Bangladesh on Hindu leader Bhabesh Chandra Roy's killing, says live up to responsibility of protecting all minorities, including Hindus. Iran and the United States are holding high-stakes second round of negotiations in Rome over Tehran's rapidly advancing nuclear program. Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, and Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi are negotiating indirectly through mediators from Oman a week after a first round in Muscat that both sides described as constructive. Trump has imposed new sanctions on Iran as part of his maximum pressure campaign targeting the country. He has repeatedly suggested military action against Iran remained a possibility, while emphasizing he still believed a new deal could be reached by writing a letter to Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei to jumpstart these talks. Khamenei has warned Iran would respond to any attack with an attack of its own. Araghchi arrived this morning in Rome to attend the second round of the talks, on the eve of which he said Iran believes reaching an agreement on its nuclear program with the US is possible as long as Washington is realistic.
We are only engaged in indirect talks with the US side, and the reason for this is clear. Because of the threats by the US administration, because of the economic pressure by the US administration, and because of the maximum pressure regime that has been imposed on us. We cannot enter into direct negotiations with them. We have seen a certain level of seriousness in the first round of talks, and if they are ready to discuss the nuclear issue without involving other matters, then we can progress further towards a constructive dialogue.
Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has asserted that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, warning Iran of potential military action if no deal is reached.
I'm for stopping Iran, very simply, from having a nuclear weapon. They can't have a nuclear weapon. I want Iran to be great and prosperous and terrific. I stopped them once they were broke and they didn't have any money for Hamas. They didn't have any money for Hezbollah. There wouldn't have been an October 7th disaster. They were broke. They had no money, and they weren't spending it to terrorist organizations because they had none.
Iran has time and again reiterated that their nuclear program is peaceful, but the West says is aimed at building an atomic bomb. And ahead of the talks, Iran's Araghchi met Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in Moscow. Later in a joint press conference, Lavrov said that Russia is ready to assist in any way acceptable to both Tehran and Washington.
We are ready to help and mediate, to play any role that will be helpful from the Iranian point of view and acceptable for the United States. We proceed from the fact that the only way to get an agreement, as the minister has just said, is to agree exclusively on nuclear issues.
All right, DD India's Shubhendu Ghosh joins us with more from Delhi. Hi, Shubhendu. A very good afternoon. Donald Trump apparently dispatched a letter to Khamenei on March 5th in which he said, I've written them a letter saying, I hope you're going to negotiate because if we have to go in militarily, it's going to be a terrible thing. He was clearly saying that either come to terms or get ready for the action. What can we expect here in the second round of talks?
That's right, Siddharth. Good afternoon. Donald Trump, in fact, has made that statement through that letter and in his press statements made that amply clear that there is a certain maximalist approach that he's taking as far as the talks with Iran are concerned. It is going to be either talks or bombing, the two extremes that the US president talks about. Now, these are complex talks that are taking place, the second round of which are underway as we speak in Rome. Sources inform us these are indirect talks. Oman authorities, Oman foreign minister has also reached Rome. Oman is playing a mediator between Iran and United States. These are two countries, remember, who are not friends, who haven't had any diplomatic exchange for decades since the 1979 Iran revolution, don't have embassies in each other's countries. Such adversaries are talking to find out a solution towards Iran's nuclear ambitions is going to be crucial. Iran, on the other hand, also has made it very clear that it does not intend to make a nuclear bomb as West and America allege all the time. It says that its nuclear enrichment is for civilian use, is for peaceful use. It has even accepted the intervention of the UN nuclear watchdog IAEA. Its chief, Rafael Grossi, in fact, was in Tehran a couple of days back, going through the various nuclear infrastructure of Iran. So it is willing to be monitored, but it is not willing to be dictated. And it is definitely not willing to negotiate under the threat of a bombing. So in that sense, the talks are taking place under tremendous pressure because the stakes are very high. What happens in these talks are going to determine if West Asia, Middle East is going to be plunged in another cycle of conflict and violence. And therefore, what comes out of this second round of talks is hugely crucial.
Indeed, indeed. And, Shubhendu, there are indirect negotiations taking place with Oman as mediator. Would that bring any conclusion to these talks, keeping in concern the first round talks like you've just mentioned?
The fact that there is a mediation, there is not a direct conversation.
Yeah.
Remember, Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi and Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's direct envoy to West Asia, are engaging in this in these interactions. They're representing the two sides. But Oman, being the mediator, Oman has traditionally, in the past decade, since the talks and relations broke down between the US and Iran, has played mediator more than once. So there is a hope that Oman could play that role well. There is a lot that is riding on these talks. As I mentioned earlier, that Donald Trump ideally would not want to engage in another conflict. He is already busy in ending conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza.
Yeah,
he wouldn't like to initiate another one. On the other hand, Iran cannot afford to be get into a direct conflict with the United States. It already has had a setback with Israel recently in the context of the Gaza conflict. So in that sense, a mediation by Oman makes the whole interaction complicated. But how much are the two sides willing to really climb down from their maximalist positions? Because Donald Trump, America, would ideally want that the complete dismantling of the Iranian nuclear infrastructure happens. Not just that, it is also hoping to end Iran's progress in ballistic missile technology, something that Iran in the recent weeks and months we know has very proudly showcased its underground facilities to be able to launch ballistic missiles. So America is hoping to achieve more and more. Its partner in the region, Israel, would have ideally preferred to perhaps bomb the nuclear sites first and then get into a negotiation. So Israel is also nervously watching what comes out of this conversation. Therefore, any headway, any breakthrough is going to have tremendous repercussions for both the nations.
Definitely a crucial moment as far as the nuclear talks are concerned. But Shubhendu, can you tell us about where does the Iran's nuclear program stands as of now?
Well, it is, there are different sources that inform. If we look at the manner in which IAEA has reported on Iran's nuclear potential, Iran, for example, has maintained that all its progress in nuclear technology is aimed at civilian use for peaceful purposes. A bit of technicality here, that for peaceful use you need a certain degree of refined uranium. Just above 3% is good enough for peaceful civilian use of nuclear energy in agriculture, in medicine, and of course production of energy, which is the most common use of nuclear power. To be able to make a bomb, you need a highly refined uranium, the raw material for a nuclear bomb. About 90% refinement, enrichment of uranium is required. Now, IAEA has reported that Iran has achieved up to 60% enrichment, especially in its facility Natanz, which is the key enrichment facility for Iran. And it is warned that such high degree of enrichment could in fact give Iran the possibility of, in fact, if it goes on like this, in a few weeks it could in fact be ready with its first bomb, and about upwards of 200 kilogram of enriched uranium could in fact enable Iran in a year's time to have about half a dozen nuclear bombs. So those again are the reasons why it is very important for America to directly negotiate with Iran. Remember the agreement that Donald Trump had walked out of in 2018. He had said that it gives a lot of leeway to Iran to engage and indulge in its nuclear adventure. But here on the negotiating table, America would want to bring in maximum damage and push back Iran's nuclear ambitions. Iran, on the other side, would also like to remember the statement that came in from the foreign minister when he said that how much we enrich uranium is not negotiable. It is for Iran to decide. What we can say is that we're not making a bomb. So in that sense, those conflicting statements are also adding a degree of complexity into the negotiation.
All right, we leave it there, Shubhendu. Thank you so much for your analysis. Update on Russia-Ukraine peace deal now, on which the United States has said that it will walk away from efforts to broker a deal unless there are clear signs of progress soon. Donald Trump said on Friday that the US will take a pass on trying to resolve the conflict if either of the two sides make it too difficult to end.
If for some reason one of the two parties makes it very difficult, we're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass. But hopefully we won't have to do that. No, Marco is right in saying it. We want to see it end.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, speaking earlier in Paris after meeting European and Ukrainian leaders, echoed similar sentiments, saying the sides had just days to show progress or Washington would abandon its efforts. While Kremlin, on its part, said on Friday that some progress had already been made in talks about a possible peace settlement to end the war in Ukraine, but that contacts were rather complicated with the United States. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov stressed that Russia is committed to resolving this conflict, ensuring its own interests, and is open to dialogue. Shifting focus to the US, where the Supreme Court early on Saturday ordered the Trump administration to temporarily halt the deportation of Venezuelan men in immigration custody. The order came after their lawyers said they were at imminent risk of removal without the judicial review previously mandated by the justices. Earlier on Friday, the top court had denied requests to block the Trump administration's move. The dispute centers on dozens of Venezuelans held at the Blue Bonnet detention facility in Anson, Texas. Lawyers for the American Civil Liberties Union filed urgent requests on Friday in multiple courts, including the Supreme Court, urging immediate action after reporting that some of men had already been loaded onto buses and were told they were to be deported. Elected last year on a promise to crack down on migrants, Donald Trump invoked the 1798 Alien Enemies Act in an attempt to swiftly deport accused members of Tren de Aragua, a criminal gang originating from Venezuelan prisons that his administration labels a terrorist group. Meanwhile, in an update regarding the issue of the Salvadoran man mistakenly deported and being held in a prison in El Salvador, Democratic U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen met with Kilmar Abrego Garcia at a hotel after initial requests to meet him were denied. The U.S. Supreme Court has directed the administration of President Donald Trump to facilitate Garcia's return after Washington acknowledged he was deported because of an administrative error.
That people understand this case is not just about one man. It's about protecting the constitutional rights of everybody who resides in the United States of America. Now, the Trump administration wants to flat out lie about what this case is about. They want to change the subject. They want to make it about something else. And they are flouting the orders from the Federal District Court, the Fourth Circuit Court, and the Supreme Court to facilitate his return.
Abrego Garcia's lawyers said that he has never been charged with nor convicted of any crime and denied the Justice Department's accusation that he belongs to the criminal gang MS-13. But the government has given no indication it plans to seek his return and said it had no authority to release a man from a foreign prison, raising the potential for a constitutional conflict should Trump defy the highest court. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. Up ahead, we tell you who was Bhabesh Chandra Roy and what does his wife has to say about the tragic incident. Indian student Harsimrat Randhawa shot dead by a stray bullet in Canada. Homicide investigation ordered. Consulate extends support to grieving family. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Saudi Arabia from April 22nd, 23rd to further deepen and strengthen multifaceted partnership.
Nature gives and we take, and sometimes a little too much. But what happens when this balance tips and who is the most impacted? Let's take a look at some of the solutions that are trying to help these communities.
We want to encourage people to consume more local products. These were caught in environmentally friendly nets, not farmed. That makes a huge difference.
Project Tangaroa. It's working to build a global framework that can help identify which wrecks need to be taken care of first and find the funding for cleanup missions.
We use SLR organic fertilizer for our plants. With organic fertilizer, the yield is better and the soil's health improves.
You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj, and the US military will consolidate its presence in Syria over the coming weeks and months in a move that could reduce the number of troops it has in the country by half. The US military has about 2,000 US troops in Syria across a number of bases, mostly in the northeast. The troops are working with local forces to prevent a resurgence of Islamic State, which in 2014 seized large swathes of Iraq and Syria but was later pushed back. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell said the troops would be consolidated at unspecified sites in a deliberate and conditions-based process. For now, US Central Command will remain poised to continue strikes against what is left of ISIS in Syria and work in fact with coalition partners to keep pressure on ISIS and respond to any other terrorist threats. India has noted with distress the abduction and brutal killing of Bhabesh Chandra Roy, a Hindu minority leader in Bangladesh. India's Ministry of External Affairs official spokesperson Randeep Jaiswal said, and I quote, "This killing follows a pattern of systematic persecution of Hindu minorities under the interim government even as the perpetrators of previous such events roam with impunity. We condemn this incident and once again remind the interim government to live up to its responsibility of protecting all minorities, including Hindus, without inventing excuses or making distinctions." Prominent Hindu community leader Bhabesh Chandra Roy was allegedly abducted from his home and beaten to death in Dinajpur district, according to police and family members. The deceased leader was the vice president of Biral unit of the Bangladesh Puja Udjapan Parishad and was a prominent leader of the Hindu community in the area. According to his wife, Shantana Roy, Bhabesh was at home in the afternoon when he received a phone call and claimed the call was made by the perpetrators to confirm his presence at home. Roy was unconscious when he was sent back home and family members rushed him to a hospital in Dinajpur. However, he was declared dead upon arrival. This is yet another incident of violence against minorities in Bangladesh. All right, and DD India's Jessica Taneja joins us on the phone line for more on this. Hi, Jessica. Bhabesh Chandra Roy was allegedly abducted and beaten to death. Quite sad. He was a Hindu minority leader. What actually transpired?
Well, as the report also points out, that he was abducted by 4 men outside his home, and that was also the details that his wife gave out to the Daily Star, the leading newspaper in Bangladesh. laid down the details as to what really transpired the night that he went missing. And then, of course, after later being abducted, he was killed by those 4 men. And India, on the other hand, has raised the issues of persecution of minorities in Bangladesh time and time and again. Even at the BIMSTEC summit held recently, the two had exchanged tweets on that, where India had maintained that the persecution of Hindu minority, especially the targeting of Hindu leaders, is a matter of concern for India and should be dealt with immediately and effectively, which hasn't been the case so far when it comes from the Bangladesh side or the entire government. So, of course, this is a thorny issue at this point, especially with Hindu leaders living in Bangladesh.
All right, Jessica, we've been witnessing, especially after the interim government in Bangladesh, there have been n number of incidents where minorities have suffered, and there you have Bangladesh interfering in India's internal affairs and talking about the safety of minorities here in the country.
Well, we heard from the Bangladesh side talk about the notice about the incident, and India had put out a statement, in fact, that itself says that the Bangladesh side would be better off looking at the state of affairs in their own country rather than focusing on the incidents that, of course, are taking place in this country at this point. And to the effect that India has maintained that this is an internal affair and it could be addressed effectively, meanwhile also reminding the Bangladeshis that there are many issues that still remain to be solved, and one including, of course, the larger issue being the Hindu minority, the people being targeted ever since the protests erupted in Bangladesh, which led to the ouster of Sheikh Hasina and the interim President Mohammad Yunus's administration continuing without much action, without paying much heed to India's demands. Certainly, issues like these have come up time and again, but India has maintained that there are internal issues that it can resolve on its own, whereas it would be advised better that Bangladesh would be better advised to address its own issues at hand for the moment.
All right, we leave it there. Thank you so much, Jessica, for your analysis. And a 21-year-old Indian student, Harsimrat Randhawa, was tragically killed in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, after being struck by a stray bullet while waiting at a bus stop. The Hamilton police are investigating the incident, describing her as an innocent bystander. Randhawa was a student at Mohawk College. The shooting occurred near Upper James and South Bend Road streets in Hamilton in the evening. Investigators believe a passenger in a black car fired at a white sedan, with stray bullets hitting Randhawa and a nearby residence. Police are seeking dashcam or security footage to aid in the investigation. The Consulate General of India in Toronto expressed deep sorrow over Randhawa's death in a post on X and said, and I quote, "We are deeply saddened by the tragic death of Indian student Harsimrat Randhawa in Hamilton, Ontario. As per local police, she was an innocent victim fatally struck by a stray bullet during a shooting incident involving 2 vehicles. A homicide investigation is currently underway. We are in close contact with her family and are extending all necessary assistance. Our thoughts and prayers are with the bereaved family during this difficult time." Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Saudi Arabia from April 22nd-23rd. This will be the 3rd visit of Prime Minister to the kingdom after his previous visits in 2016 and 2019. The visit follows the state visit of Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, to New Delhi in September 2023 to attend the G20 summit and co-chair the first meeting of the India-Saudi Arabia Strategic Partnership Council. The visit of Prime Minister Modi reflects the importance India attaches to its bilateral relationship with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It will provide an opportunity to further deepen and strengthen a multifaceted partnership, as well as to exchange views on various regional and international issues of mutual interest. India and Saudi Arabia share close and friendly ties with a long history of socio-cultural and trade contacts. Tesla CEO Elon Musk is planning to visit India later in the year. In a post on his X social media platform, Musk wrote, and I quote, "I'm looking forward to visiting India later this year." Musk wrote a day after Prime Minister Narendra Modi said he had discussed collaboration in the areas of technology and innovation with Musk without saying when the discussions took place. The development comes ahead of US Vice President J.D. Vance's 4-day trip to India beginning 21st of April. The two sides will also exchange views on regional and global developments of mutual interest. Bhutan's King Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk visited the under-construction International Multimodal Logistics Park in Jogigopa, located in Assam's Bongaigaon district. The visit marks a significant diplomatic and economic gesture, reflecting the growing regional cooperation between Bhutan and India, especially in trade and connectivity. The logistics park is being developed as the country's first international multimodal logistics hub. The project is expected to play a transformative role in enhancing trade infrastructure and boosting economic ties with neighboring countries like Bhutan and Bangladesh. Following the site inspection, the king also toured the inland water transport port located nearby. And still to come on India NewsHour. Indian Army facilitates mobile connectivity in remote areas of Ladakh. India observes World Liver Day with special event themed Healthy Liver, Healthy India. 50 years since India launched Aryabhat, its first satellite, marking a joint leap in space exploration. Interview of former ISRO chief ahead.
Embark on a timeless journey. Unravel the mysteries of a grandiose era. A treasure trove of royal and sacred complexes, temples, shrines, pillared halls, mandapas, rock-cut memorials and more. A spectacular setting of rugged landscape and exemplary workmanship, representing the best of Dravidian architecture. Every structure carved out as a unique artistic creation. A heritage landmark that reflects pure magnificence, integrated within its natural environment. An unexplored haven for nature and adventure enthusiasts. An imposing heritage reflected in its street bazaars and annual festivals of music and culture. Come, be mesmerized by the glorious capital of the Vijayanagar Empire.
You're watching DD India NewsHour. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj, and in India's eastern state of West Bengal, Governor C.V. Ananda Bose visited the violence-affected areas in Murshidabad district on Saturday to assess the situation and engage with those impacted. Assuring proactive action, Bose said that he had a detailed discussion with the victims in the camp where they have been staying as a temporary arrangement. He also assured that the appropriate action will be taken against those responsible.
Certainly some other demands or whatever suggestions given by them, all these will be considered. I will take it up with the government of India and the state government for appropriate action. I will follow it up. All their complaints I have listened to. I will analyze it. We have all our sympathetic understanding of what they want. We will do all our best to see that they get justice.
Governor Bose also reviewed the situation and met the victims in the affected region on Friday. At least 4 people were killed as a 4-story building collapsed in northeast Delhi's Mustafabad area in the early hours of Saturday, with around 24 people feared trapped under the debris. Teams from the National Disaster Response Force, firefighters and Delhi police are indulged in the rescue and relief operation. 1 person has been rescued so far. The police said they are probing the cause behind the building's collapse. Chief Minister Rekha Gupta has expressed grief over the incident. In a tweet, she said, and I quote, "I am deeply saddened by the tragic incident of building collapse in Mustafabad. Investigation has been ordered and strict action will be ensured against the culprits. DDMA, NDRF, DFS and other agencies are continuously engaged in relief and rescue operations. Arrangements have been made for proper treatment of all the injured. My deepest condolences to those who died in this unfortunate accident. May God give strength to the bereaved families to bear this irreparable loss." In a move towards empowering the remote border villages, the Indian Army has facilitated unprecedented mobile connectivity across the remote and high-altitude areas of Ladakh. Troops deployed in some of the world's most inhospitable terrains now have access to reliable 4G and 5G mobile connectivity. The installation of multiple mobile towers on army infrastructure, including 4 key towers in Ladakh and Kargil districts alone, has proved to be a major morale booster for soldiers serving in isolated winter cutoff posts. It is a collaborative approach by the Indian Army and telecom service providers along with the UT administration of Ladakh. A particularly historic milestone was the successful installation of a 5G mobile tower on the Siachen Glacier, which is the highest battlefield in the world and showcases India's technological prowess and resolve. The initiative also echoes the spirit of Viksit Bharat at 2047. World Liver Day is being observed today to highlight the importance of liver care and early detection of liver disorders. On the occasion, the Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences in Delhi organized a special event themed Healthy Liver, Healthy India. The program raised awareness about liver-related diseases and promoted liver health among the public. Union Home Minister and Minister of Cooperation Amit Shah graced the event as the chief guest.
मोदी जी ने देश के सामने लक्ष्य रखा है 2047 में विकसित भारत की रचना करना, जो हर क्षेत्र में आत्मनिर्भर हो और हर क्षेत्र में विश्व का नेतृत्व करता हो। मगर विकसित भारत की संकल्पना बीमारों की फौज के साथ नहीं हो सकती। इसके लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि हर नागरिक को स्वस्थ रहना चाहिए। सरकार ने होलिस्टिक व्यू के साथ इस पर बहुत काम किया है।
Also in attendance were Delhi Lieutenant Governor Vinay Kumar Saxena, Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta.
पूरे देश से, पूरे विश्व से लोग यहाँ आते हैं कि उन्हें अच्छा और बेहतर इलाज मिल सके। तो ये हमारी और भी बड़ी जिम्मेदारी बन जाती है कि हेल्थ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की फील्ड में हम अपने अस्पतालों को और अधिक मजबूत करें, यहाँ टेक्नोलॉजीज़ को और अधिक अपग्रेडेड करें और हेल्थ सेक्टर में हर वो संभव प्रयास करें जो हमारे देश के नागरिकों के लिए ज़रूरी है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also took to social media platform X to support the initiative. In a post on X, he wrote, and I quote, "Commendable effort to mark World Liver Day with a call for mindful eating and healthier living. Small steps like reducing oil intake can make a big difference. Together, let's build a fitter, healthier India by raising awareness about obesity." Chief Minister of India's Northeast State Assam Himanta Biswa Sarma met with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday. The Chief Minister invited PM Modi to Assam as the chief guest for the inaugural ceremony of the year-long celebration of Bharat Ratna Dr. Bhupen Hazarika's birth centenary. PM Modi agreed to visit Assam on 8th of September 2025 and will also attend the inauguration of Assam bioethanol plant with a production capacity of 49 KTPA ethanol using 300 KTPA bamboo as feedstock. PM Modi will also lay the foundation stones of two key infrastructure projects, the 5,700 crore Guwahati Ring Road project and the Darang Medical College and Hospital during his visit. Aryabhat, India's first satellite, was launched on April 19, 1975 from Russia. Celebrating its 50th anniversary, former chairman of Indian Space Research Organization S. Somnath joined school children in Delhi on Saturday. The students impressed him with their innovative space models. Reflecting on India's progress in space technology, Somnath highlighted the bright future for ISRO, especially with increased private sector participation. DD India's correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya speaks with the former ISRO chief.
Joining me is former ISRO chairman S. Somnath to talk about the 50 years of Aryabhat launch, sir. From then to now, it's a huge journey, and under you we have scaled higher, echelons. Tell us, how do you feel looking at these models about Aryabhat satellite and all the journey that you have seen over the years?
Of course, it's a story of a lot of sacrifice and hard work, a generation of people, starting with Prasar Bharati, who started the Aryabhat program, who was the project director at that time, and also the vision of Satish Dhawan to create that infrastructure to build the satellites. But then soon followed was the technology upgradation from Aryabhat to the current levels of building heavier satellites. Today we know how to build bigger communication satellites weighing as much as 6 tons. We also have the ability to build Earth observation satellites with high resolutions, sub-meter resolutions, radar satellites, timing and navigation satellites, and scientific satellites to go to Moon, Mars and others. So it's really a great journey in the last 50 years.
There was a time when India was not considered among the top, but now every nation wants to come and collaborate with India and ISRO when it comes to space missions.
For us, it's working on equal terms, because we have a strategic capability today in building and launching satellites from India, which is really a huge strength for a nation. And we would like to collaborate also. It's not for isolation, it's actually for collaboration, because space is for the entire humanity. But it also has its national connotations where we look at security and strategic aspect, as well as natural resource mapping and commerce and business as well. So all these are covered under the capability that we are doing today. And I am also happy that now private entrepreneurs have come to build this, not just ISRO alone, into designing and developing satellites and launching them and operate on a commercial basis. It's a great thing to happen in the last few years.
Right. Much appreciated, Ram. So that was the former ISRO chairman saying that India is scaling new heights, and in due course of time, we will see much more from ISRO. With Person Naked, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for GD India from Delhi.
The Create in India challenge is heating up as participants across various contests gear up for this particular challenge. We have a report by our correspondent Shama.
Resonate, the EDM challenge organized by the Indian music industry in collaboration with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, aims to reinforce India's position as a global hub for electronic music, fusion sounds and DJing talent. The preliminary round was judged by industry professionals from the Lost Stories Academy, India's leading music production and DJ training institute.
The quality at which Indian artists currently are is in a way the similar sort of structure to what these foreign artists are doing currently. In terms of mixes and in terms of just the whole ideation, the concept, I think they are at par with some of the world's best.
The challenge was open to artists, composers, musicians and performers from around the world with prior experience in creating and producing EDM, and is seen as a launch pad for talent. Prayag Mehta notes that the Wave Summit will provide a commercial and creative platform for winners and EDM artists to shine and grow.
The fact that the government has recognized electronic dance music is one of the biggest wins for the entire community. Resonate, the EDM challenge, is going to be one of the best platforms for the artists to showcase their talent. The future is going to be very promising. A lot of doors, a lot of opportunities would open up for them, not only for the top 10 contestants, but so to speak, for every artist who's currently pursuing dance music.
The top 10 shortlisted participants include Shrikant Vemula and Mayank Vidhani from Mumbai, Kshitij Kodve from Pune, Aditya Upadhyay from Kumarigata, Assam, and Divansh Rastogi from New Delhi. These finalists represent a dynamic spectrum of India's electronic music landscape, from atmospheric, ambient styles to high-octane dance tracks. They will now have the opportunity to captivate audiences at the Wave Summit, set to take place this May. Shama Mishra for DD India.
Easter this year will be celebrated on April 20. The festival marks the day of Jesus Christ's resurrection and is a symbol of hope and forgiveness to people. India's President Draupadi Murmu on Saturday extended her greetings to people on the eve of Easter. On the auspicious occasion of Easter, in a message, the President said the sacred festival of Easter, commemorating a resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ, and conveys a message of selfless love and service. She added that the sacrifice of Jesus Christ teaches us the value of renunciation and forgiveness, and his life inspires humanity to follow the path of truth, justice and compassion. President Murmu also urged the citizens to adopt Jesus Christ's life values and promote peace and prosperity in the society. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. First commercial sea shipment of unique Indian pomegranates reaches US. And India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurates the MP Sports Mahakumbh event in Lucknow.
Bharat welcomes the world to a new era of creativity. Waves World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit, as Mumbai hosts the global stage for creativity and innovation. Connecting creators through Creatosphere, where emerging voices rise. Wave Accelerator, where ideas meet global investors. Waves Bazaar, a global marketplace for content. Connecting countries through global media dialogue and industry roundtable. Bharat Pavilion, capturing India's rich history of storytelling.
वेव्स के रूप में भारत एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म बनाने जा रहा है जिसमें दुनिया के एंटरटेनमेंट लैंडस्केप पर उसको बदलने की क्षमता होगी.
From culturals to cinema, gaming to animation, fueling the next wave of entertainment. Connecting creators, connecting countries. Waves 2025.
You're watching DD India NewsHour. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. In a groundbreaking move, India marked a milestone in fruit exports with the first successful commercial sea shipment of Bhagwa pomegranates to New York. Traditionally flown by air, this shift to sea freight enhances sustainability and cost effectiveness. Following US market access in 2023, the Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, USDA, APHIS, NPPO and NRCP collaborated on successful trials. Boosted by a 60-day shelf life innovation, 12.6 tons of premium pomegranates were shipped from International Finance Corporation, Navi Mumbai by INI Farms. This heralds a new era for Indian fruits in global markets, positioning Bhagwa as a strong contender in the competitive US fresh fruit space. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has termed the efforts of APEDA to ensure the first commercial sea shipment of unique Indian pomegranates reaches to US as commendable. In a tweet, he said, and I quote, "This milestone not only reflects the country's growing strength in horticulture exports, but will also create new opportunities for our farmers to tap into the rising global demand for high-quality agri-products." Amid growing concerns among businesses about arbitrary delays and procedural hurdles, the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, or CBIC, issued a comprehensive set of instructions to streamline the goods and services tax registration process. The revised guidelines are aimed at curbing discretionary practices by field officers, especially the tendency to seek documents not mandated under the law. This follows complaints from taxpayers about harassment and inconsistency in the registration process across jurisdictions. Consulate General of India in Shanghai, Prateek Mathur, visited China Interdye 2025, the world's largest exhibition for the dyes and pigments industry. The dignitary interacted with the large Indian contingent of nearly 80 companies there, asserting that small and medium-sized enterprises are leading the way. He discussed the overall industry landscape, growth trends and the enabling role the consulate can play in boosting Indian export to the region. You're watching DD India NewsHour. Time now for sport, and Rajasthan Royals will host Lucknow Super Giants in the Indian Premier League match in Jaipur on Saturday. The Rajasthan Royals desperately need to win as they have only won 2 of their last 7 games, which put them in 8th place in the IPL rankings. Nitish Rana, Jofra Archer and Yashasvi Jaiswal are the hosts' key players, while captain Sanju Samson is doubtful for the match. On the other hand, the Lucknow Super Giants have proven to be one of the most formidable teams this season. They have won 4 of their 7 games. The top run scorer, Nicholas Pooran, Mitchell Marsh and Aiden Markram are batting well. Shardul Thakur leads the bowling pack, although spinners Digvesh Rathi and Ravi Bishnoi have also contributed significantly. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurated the Sansad Khel Mahakumbh event in Lucknow on Saturday. During the opening function, Defence Minister facilitated senior athletes and coaches from the Lucknow division who have represented at Olympic and international platforms. Demonstrations of Kalarai Pattu, Yoga and Mallakhambh were also showcased before the chief guests to promote indigenous disciplines. Khel Mahakumbh is a unique initiative aimed at promoting sports in rural areas and providing a platform for youth to showcase their talent. The initiative is led by members of parliament in their respective constituencies. Over the years, thousands of athletes from various panchayats and villages have participated in the event. India's Anahat Singh and Veer Chotrani have reached their respective finals at the World Squash Championships Asian Qualifier in Kuala Lumpur on Saturday. Anahat continued her excellent run at the tournament and registered yet another 11-2, 11-7, 11-6 straight games win against Helen Tang of Hong Kong. Anahat will now take on another Hong Kong player, Toby Say, in the final. Meanwhile, Veer Chotrani has also advanced to the final of men's singles category. Veer secured a 11-7, 11-6, 7-11, 11-4 win against Hong Kong player Chi Him Wong. The winners of the tournament will secure direct entry into the World Championship scheduled from 9th to 17th of May in Chicago. India concluded its campaign at the Asian Under-18 Athletics Championships in Dammam city of Saudi Arabia with 11 medals. Himanshu Jakhar scripted history by winning India's first ever gold medal in the javelin category. The youngster's opening throw of 67.57 meter was enough to land the gold. In boys high jump, Devak Bhushan clinched silver with 2.03 meter leap, just 0.2 meter short of gold medalist Mohammad Aldouj of Kuwait. Earlier, Aarti doubled her medal tally at the competition after winning a bronze medal in women's 200-meter race. She had previously won bronze in the women's 100-meter race. Indian athletes won medals, 1 gold, 5 silver and 5 bronze medals at the competition. Carlos Alcaraz battled into the semi-finals of the Barcelona Open with a 7-5, 6-3 win over Alex de Minaur. Top seed Alcaraz's service was broken twice but recovered to win the opening set. And let's take you across to the press conference by Ministry of External Affairs.
Secretary in the Ministry of External Affairs who looks after Gulf countries, Shri Asim Mahajan. With that, I invite Foreign Secretary sir to make his remarks. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Randir. Thank you all for being here in such good numbers on a Saturday afternoon again. As you are already aware, the Honorable Prime Minister will be paying a visit to Saudi Arabia next week on 22nd and 23rd of April 2025. This is a visit at the invitation of His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince and Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. You would also recall that this visit follows the visit by His Royal Highness to India in September 2023 on the occasion of the G20 summit. And that was also the occasion when the first ever meeting of the newly established Strategic Partnership Council between the two countries was held. The upcoming visit will be Prime Minister's third visit in this capacity to Saudi Arabia. He has visited earlier in 2016 and 2019. In 2016, during his first visit, the Prime Minister was conferred the kingdom's highest civilian honor, the King Abdulaziz Sash, and in October 2019, he paid his second visit, which followed the first visit of the Crown Prince himself to India earlier that year in February 2019. During Prime Minister's second visit, the two countries signed the agreement on establishing the Strategic Partnership Council, which is a high-level council at the summit level to steer relations between the two countries. The Strategic Partnership Council has two subcommittees, the Committee on Political, Security, Social and Cultural Relations, and the Committee on Economic and Investment related issues, which also deals with trade and technology. Both the committees have a number of subcommittees and joint working groups under them, and they have been having and holding their meetings over the past several months, and the upcoming visit will be an opportunity to hold the second summit level meeting of this Strategic Partnership Council. The visit is important also on account of the obvious significance of Saudi Arabia as a strategic partner for India. You're aware of the salience that this relationship has for India's energy security. Saudi Arabia hosts a very large Indian expatriate community, possibly the second largest expatriate community of its kind anywhere in the world. Saudi Arabia is a leading voice in the Islamic world and is increasingly playing an important role in regional developments. And therefore, from all of these perspectives, the visit provides an opportunity to build on the already strong relations with this strategic partner. You're also aware that the Prime Minister and the Crown Prince share a very close personal relationship with a lot of warmth and respect for each other. And the bilateral relationship has gained a lot from strategic guidance at the topmost level. And there has been significant momentum also in this relationship in recent years. And in this context, two areas that I would like to underline are defense and economic ties between the two countries. The defense partnership has witnessed several firsts in the past few years. We had the first ever joint land forces exercise between the two countries in 2024. I think it's called the Sadat Tansik 1. Two editions have been held of joint naval exercises. We've had regular exchanges on training and capacity building, and staff talks are taking place across all the three services. Our cooperation has also expanded on the defense industry front, and India is gaining space as an important supplier of defense stores to Saudi Arabia, and a special agreement on the export of munitions to the kingdom worth about $225 million was signed last year. The economic partnership also continues to grow. The value of total trade between the two countries in 23-24 was nearly $43 billion. In Saudi Arabia is India's fifth largest trading partner overall, and India is the kingdom's second largest trading partner overall. I gave you the figures for 23-24, which comprised India's imports from Saudi Arabia at nearly $31.42 billion and exports to Saudi Arabia of about $11.56 billion. Apart from trade, investment also continues to do well, and there are investments across different sectors such as energy, steel, chemicals, food sector, telecommunications, and startups. Saudi Arabia, as you are aware, is undertaking a number of mega infrastructure construction projects, and many of those have opportunities for Indian companies, not only from the investment perspective, but also participating in them from the project execution perspective. And in this way, Indian companies are actually playing an important role in realizing the Saudi Vision 2030 objective that the kingdom has set for itself. I spoke earlier about the salience of Saudi Arabia as a key player in our energy scenario. The value of the energy trade in 23-24 was $25.7 billion. The kingdom remains India's third largest crude and petroleum sourcing destination. These are the figures for 23-24, and in that year they accounted for 14.3% of India's total crude oil imports. That year, Saudi Arabia was also the third largest source of LPG for India, accounting for almost 18% of the total LPG imports of India. And we are looking at infusing an even more strategic outlook in the energy partnership between the two countries, and we expect that the forthcoming visit will have some developments related to this as well. Just a few words with regard to the elements of the program. The Prime Minister's engagements will include, incidentally, the visit will be hosted by Saudi Arabia in the city of Jeddah. The Prime Minister's engagements will include a one-on-one meeting with His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, as well as formal engagements that include a ceremonial welcome and bilateral talks. As I said, the two leaders will co-chair the second meeting of the Strategic Partnership Council. I've spoken about the two key pillars, the political and ministerial, the political and economic pillars, which are led at the ministerial level between the two sides. The visit is also likely to see the conclusion of several MOUs between the two sides. Some of these are in the final stage of approvals and brushing up, and we will have more details to release about these during the course of the visit. I also mentioned in my earlier remarks the importance of the people-to-people relationship between the two countries. As I said, nearly 2.7 million Indians live and work in the kingdom. The Indian community comprises the second largest group of Indians living abroad, and it's a matter of great satisfaction that the Indian community in Saudi Arabia is very well regarded for its significant contribution to the national life and economic development of the kingdom. And during the visit, the Prime Minister will visit a factory employing Indian workers and will interact with them as well. On the same subject, in terms of people-to-people relations, yoga has been very well received in the kingdom, and the ongoing cooperation between the two countries in the field of media, entertainment and sports has great and significant potential. Saudi Arabia obviously plays a very important role in facilitating the visit of thousands of Indian citizens for the annual pilgrimages for Hajj and Umrah, and we've been coordinating closely this year as well with Saudi authorities, and we thank the Saudi leadership for the continued assistance that they have provided to Indian pilgrims traveling to Saudi Arabia for these purposes. So from all these perspectives, it is clear that the relationship between the two countries spans a wide spectrum, and in addition to the traditional areas, there is growing interest and keenness to get into new areas. I mentioned defense as a relatively new area, including defense industrial procurement, but so also things such as renewable energy investments, healthcare services, tourism and entertainment. You would recall that on the sidelines of the G20 summit in September 2023, Saudi Arabia was amongst the other partners that joined India in the conclusion of the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor Agreement. And as partners under this agreement, both countries are actively exploring opportunities in regional connectivity, in logistics, clean energy, electricity and data cooperation. The visit therefore provides the opportunity to leadership in both countries to engage on all of these strategic areas, to deepen our partnership, and most importantly, of course, to share their perspectives at a time when the regional and global economic and security situation is in a certain amount of flux. So the visit is coming at a very, very opportune time as well. Let me stop there. I'll be happy to take a few questions.
So, can we go with Rishabh here first?
Once again, good evening, Rishabh from Times Now. So, since Prime Minister is traveling to Saudi Arabia, in the region, Houthis have been a cause of concern for the free movement, and India has also been operating in Gulf of Eden and other such parts. Will there be discussion on Houthis as well, given that Saudi Arabia also has stakes in the region? A, and B, on West Asian situation, what else can we expect on the table? Whether the Palestine-Israel issue will also be discussed, and furthermore, regional issues will be discussed.
Ayushi.
So this is Ayush Sherwal from ANI. So you mentioned about the IMEC corridor. So will there be any discussion on the progress when it comes to the connectivity corridor? And second, since Saudi played an important role when it comes to mediation of Russia-Ukraine war, will the Prime Minister be briefed about the negotiation that has held in Riyadh so far?
Friend there.
Sir, this is Banna from Madhyamam Daily. You have mentioned Hajj and Umrah pilgrimage. There was an urgent request from combined Hajj group organizers of India for an intervention of PM to resolve issues affecting more than 52,507 Indian Hajj pilgrims who had booked their pilgrimage through private operators. So, as per the latest circular by Ministry of Minority Affairs, only 20% of the private quota is being confirmed, leaving nearly 80% of the registered pilgrims uncertain about their journey. Will Prime Minister discuss the matter with Saudi? Is there any update on this issue?
Sridhar.
Sir, Sridhar from the Asian Asian Technical Chronicle. My question was much the same, but I just wanted to ask, is there a real chance that the Saudis may actually increase the, because out of 52,000, I think they have given 10,000 slots. So is there a real, because your statement also, the Minority Affairs Ministry mentioned that it would be appreciated if the Saudis would further increase. So will the PM actually intervene, and is there a real chance that the Saudis may increase it further? Thank you.
Siddhant.
Hello, Foreign Secretary. I'm Siddhant from CNN News 18. Sir, my question is regarding the way Riyadh is facilitating talks between the two sides as far as war in Europe is concerned. Perhaps something that India has been saying from a very beginning, solution through dialogue and diplomacy. And now, finally, that is taking place in Riyadh. So, whether PM Sir will share his perspective on the war and there would be a discussion on it, point number one. So point number two, sir, IMEC was launched at the time of G20, and we have done enough with the UAE as far as IMEC is concerned. Prime Minister was in France. In fact, he held talks with President Macron also, and some of the countries have also appointed their special envoy for the project. But from the Saudi side, sir, there has been a very less development kind of messaging, signaling as far as this project is concerned. So do you see this as an opportunity so that Indian side can push it, so that IMEC Saudi part can come up as early as possible? Thank you.
We got more questions.
Okay. To Rishabh's first question related to Houthis. Now, obviously, as I said in my opening remarks, this is a very important opportunity to compare notes on several issues of mutual concern in related to the regional situation as well as the global developments. And what you have referred to, the attacks by the Houthis with regard to shipping and navigation, etc., is obviously something that India has been closely monitoring as well, and we are obviously also watching with some concern the developments in the region, including most recently. We have obviously great concerns about freedom of navigation, the safety and security of our vessels and our seafarers on board those vessels in the region. As you mentioned, the Indian Navy has mounted a significant effort in that area and already taken a number of measures to ensure the safety of merchant ships and seafarers. We've conducted several anti-piracy operations and several search and rescue and relief operations as well, responding to a number of distress calls that have been received from platforms that have come under attack in the region. So I think given the stakes that both sides have in this particular area, not just from the economic and commercial perspective, but also from the political and strategic perspective, I would imagine that this is going to be a significant area of discussion between the two sides. I won't prejudge exactly what the contours will be and what the outcome will be, but I think this is definitely going to be an important area of discussion. Likewise, for discussions on the situation about on West Asia, the current state of affairs between Israel and Palestine, and obviously on that front also we've seen developments of some concern. Saudi Arabia plays a very important role in addressing this issue. India has remained involved with all the principal actors in this issue. We've met with and discussed with leadership both from Palestine as well as Israel, as also regional leaders, whether it be from Jordan, Egypt, and indeed Saudi Arabia as well. And given the multiple initiatives that are underway in the region right now, whether it is trying to settle the situation with regard to the release of hostages, or about the facilitation of humanitarian assistance, or a ceasefire. In some ways, these are interlinked issues. We have engaged on all of them, and this would be a very important opportunity to engage with a very, very important actor on these issues. So again, I think this is going to make for a very interesting and rich discussion between the two sides, between the two leaders. On Ayushi's question of progress with regard to IMEC, and I think some others have also asked about IMEC. Look, after the signing of the framework understanding on IMEC in September 2023, we obviously had, all the partners had an urgent regional situation to address, which meant that the kind of groundwork that was foreseen between all the partners could not begin immediately. That, however, does not mean that individual countries or groups of countries that are part of the original agreement have not discussed or engaged on what the contours of this agreement are going to look like and what kind of work will be required to effect progress under this agreement. Much of the work, for instance, related to infrastructure linkages, some of the missing infrastructure linkages, as it were, in the IMEC corridors, is work that makes sense for many of those countries to undertake, whether those links become part of IMEC eventually or not. They have a national relevance and a national salience as well. Wherever India can engage bilaterally, it has already done so, it continues to do so. And even with Saudi Arabia, I would say that we have engaged within the IMEC framework. For instance, barely a month after the signing of the framework agreement, we signed the memorandum of understanding in the field of electrical interconnections and green and clean hydrogen and supply chains. The electricity grid interconnection MOU is something on which work is expected to start imminently in terms of a study to lay out the feasibility of this connection. But as it proceeds, I would say that this would become one of the major pillars of the IMEC initiative. Similarly, we see the possible agreements between the two countries on clean hydrogen as another very important trade-linked initiative under this. So it's not, I know that the political and security situation in the region makes it seem as if progress on IMEC has frozen, but actually we have been working with select partners, and as I think Siddhant referred to the fact that a number of countries have appointed special envoys as well. We have engaged with several of those envoys and exchanged views on what will need to be done. There is a lot of groundwork that needs to be done. We don't need to necessarily wait for the security situation to completely settle down for work to start on IMEC. And you will see, as I imagine in the fairly near future, engagement on IMEC across the all of the partners, original as well as prospective partners, will at some point fructify on the ground. But there is work that has already been going on, and I'm sure during this meeting as well there will be references to what more can be done to take forward work on IMEC. Insofar as the other question on the role that the kingdom is playing on facilitating contacts between Russia and Ukraine and the United States with regard to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, again, obviously, I think some other friends have also raised this question, but it is going to be a significant area of discussion. It is indeed a fact that we had also, the Prime Minister had articulated India's position about the need for dialogue to address and resolve this issue, for people to sit around a table, and for the principal protagonists to sit around the table and find solutions to this. And we are glad to see some of that happening. And it's good that a partner such as Saudi Arabia is involved in this exercise. Again, I cannot prejudge what the nature of the discussions will be, but this is going to be a significant subject of discussions between the two leaders as well. So your question on the combined Hajj group operators. You are aware that over the last decade, we have government has actually accorded very high priority to consistently raise India's quota, annual quota for pilgrims to be able to perform the Hajj pilgrimage. And it is as a result of these sustained efforts pursued over nearly a decade that India's Hajj quota has risen from 136,020 in 2014 to 175,025 in 2025. Now, you are familiar, I imagine, with the manner in which this quota is handled and administered, and for those colleagues who may not be aware of the minutiae in this regard, out of this total quota of 175,000, the Ministry of Minority Affairs, which works through the Hajj Committee of India, is responsible for managing arrangements for 122,518 pilgrims in the current year under the main quota. And as the Ministry of Minority Affairs has already shared, for this part of the quota that is their responsibility, all the necessary preparations, including the finalization of the flight schedules, transportation, accommodation, etc., have been taken up and completed as per Saudi guidelines. The remaining quota of roughly 52,000 is allotted for administration and management, as is customary practice over a long period of time, to private tour operators. Now, the process of administration of the Hajj is eventually something that is within the domain of the authorities of Saudi Arabia, and in keeping with their updated directions, the Ministry of Minority Affairs this year consolidated a very large number of operators, private operators, more than 800, into 26 combined Hajj group operators, and allocated a quota to them well in advance. It is a different matter that many of these, or probably most of these operators were unable to comply with the timelines that had been set by the Saudi authorities, and they failed to finalize the required contracts that were needed for accommodation, especially in Mina, and the transportation arrangements on the ground. And I think we eventually were, or the operators were eventually faced with a situation where they had not completed the necessary formalities, and the deadlines could not be extended any further. In fact, the deadlines have not been extended for any country this year. We have engaged with Saudi authorities at multiple levels. The Saudi authorities have told us that they are very concerned about the safety of the pilgrims and their well-being, especially in Mina. You're aware that the Hajj sometimes takes place, as it will this year, in very hot conditions. Space is always at a premium. You're also aware of the very unfortunate accident that took place last year that resulted in the loss of a large number of lives. So the concern is that we have seen on the part of Saudi authorities is well placed. But nevertheless, the government continued to persist and raise with the Saudi authorities the issue of allowing or enabling the private tour operators to be able to use the quota or part of the quota that was allotted to them. And as a result of this intervention, there has been an in-principle agreement whereby the Saudi Hajj Ministry has agreed to facilitate the registration of an additional 10,000 pilgrims based on current availability in MENA. The Ministry of Minority Affairs has been in touch with the combined Hajj group operators to essentially get them ready to avail of this opportunity, and we look forward to the facilitation of this in the very, very near future. We obviously appreciate this gesture from the Saudi authorities. We remain in touch with them for any further measures that they could take to accommodate more pilgrims. The facilitation of the Hajj is a very important issue bilaterally between India and Saudi Arabia, and it is only to be expected that this issue will figure in the discussions during the upcoming visit. I think I've already addressed Siddhant's questions related to IMEC and the discussions on Russia, Ukraine, etc.
So, Kalol, you have a question there?
Kalol Bhattacharjee from Delhi News. My question was that you have mentioned that the security situation did not fully come down for IMEC to go ahead. So the question is India going to keep aside the two-state solution before going ahead with IMEC?
Okay. Sudhi, you have a question?
Thank you, Foreign Secretary, for doing this. Sudhirajan from Bloomberg. Sir, just wanted an understanding when you say infuse more strategic dimension to the energy relationship. India has reduced, in fact, halved its pickup of crude oil in comparison to 2019. Is there a promise or an assurance that we are giving to Saudi Arabia to pick up more crude? B, sir, any understanding that you could give us on the promise of Saudi Arabia to invest $100 billion, including a refinery in India? Where does that stand? And finally, sir, do you expect the Prime Minister and the Ground Prince to discuss the controversy in India about Waqf Board and the changes in the law?
Uma?
Sir, I'm Huma speaking from the Strat News Global. I have two questions. You talked about defense and economic economy to the agenda. So will the India GCC FTA be part of this talk? And in the defense, there has been an interest from the Saudi side to participate in jointly manufacturing defense platforms. Will that be discussed?
Siddhant?
So Siddhant from Beyond. So on the diaspora aspect, how much there will be a conversation given the fact that the largest number of Indians who are in jail anywhere in the world is in Saudi Arabia? That's the first question. My second question is, Saudi Arabia is a leading voice not in the Islamic world but also in the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Now that grouping has seen Pakistan misusing that grouping a lot. So how much India will sensitize the Saudi side that Pakistan should not misuse it for anti-India purposes?
Keshav?
Thank you, sir. Keshav Padmanabhan from The Print. Two questions. On defense, I know we've signed this deal for $225 million of export of munitions. Are we going to look at more such exports? Is that going to be discussed as a part of the larger strategic relationship? And secondly, BRICS had invited Saudi Arabia to join as a member. This is still a pending issue. Is this going to be discussed
Or will this come up between the discussions between Crown Prince Salman and Prime Minister Modi? And would we see some movement with regards to BRICS during this meeting, sir? Thank you.
Take this one, last one. Okay, we can take. Maybe let's address these. With regard to Kalol's question on IMEC and the security situation in West Asia, two-state solution, frankly speaking, I don't necessarily see any organic linkage between these two issues. India's position on the two-state solution is a well-held, long-held position, and I don't think there's any need to restate or add anything at this stage to this particular issue. IMEC, as I said, is something where work can proceed in parallel. The security situation impacts only certain areas at a particular point in time, and it is possible to do work on this particular project in a distributed fashion. So I don't see a direct sort of linkage between these two issues. To Shrudi's question on multi-part question on, I think the first three parts of your question on the nature of the strategic dimension of our energy partnership. What are the prospects for picking up more crude from Saudi Arabia and prospective investments, including in a refinery by Saudi Arabia. They're all linked in one way or the other. Insofar as picking more crude is concerned, you're well aware that India buys crude on the open market. We are companies that are involved in the commerce of crude are essentially looking at prices, availability, and security of and ease of supply. So that will continue to be guiding principles. But obviously, with countries such as Saudi Arabia, that has been a reliable partner for a very long period of time, we'll always look to strengthening our relationship with them. So on all of these issues that you have mentioned, I would say watch this space. These are all issues that are under close discussion between the two countries, and we are hoping to see developments in these areas. The last part of your question on Waqf, etc. issues, I haven't seen anything officially from Saudi Arabia or any official organ there with regard to this issue. I'm not sure why this would be brought up. Uma's question on the GCC FTA. Yes, you're right. We have been having discussions with the GCC for an FTA. This is obviously a very important region insofar as bilateral trade is concerned. Overall trade with the GCC countries was nearly $160 billion in 23-24 area. This region has some of our largest energy suppliers, and again features most of the members of the GCC host large Indian diaspora communities and Indian business entities, and therefore an FTA with the GCC would obviously unlock tremendous economic potential in the partnership. We are keen to make progress. Obviously, that progress is a sum total of the kinds of relationships we have with individual countries in the GCC region. Saudi Arabia being one of the most important among the leading members of the GCC. So we do hope that, and I think it may very well be discussed during this visit as well, as to what are the prospects that we see for an India GCC FTA. Recently, I think probably just about a week ago, the chief negotiators of India and the GCC have had a productive meeting on the FTA, so we look to taking that forward. You also had a question which Keshav also asked about defense, between defense relations. Now, I mean, you know, I mentioned about this major initiative or the major deal in terms of India emerging as a supplier of defense goods to Saudi Arabia. But what is really important on the defense front is the growing and close institutional linkage, or the institutional underpinnings that are being put in place in the relationship between the two countries. More exchanges, including by exchanging slots in each other's institutions of higher defense learning, more training opportunities, more exercises, and more high-level engagements, including by way of visits of the chiefs of the respective services to each other's countries. It is this institutionalization that is really going to lend greater solidity to this particular aspect of the relationship. I think in December 2023, Saudi Arabia was elected to hold the presidency of the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium for a 2-year term from 27 to 29. That also shows Saudi Arabia's greater involvement with defense structures and strategic structures in this part of the world. So we are looking at taking this forward. Siddhant, your question on the diaspora in the kingdom. Yes, we do have a large number of Indian nationals detained in prisons in Saudi Arabia, and our mission and our consulate in Saudi Arabia regularly take up the matters of Indian nationals who find themselves in these situations, work with the law enforcement agencies and authorities, as well as the government of Saudi Arabia in addressing these issues. We have signed bilateral agreements addressing different aspects of the detainee issue. We have signed an agreement quite some time back on transfer of sentenced prisoners between India and Saudi Arabia. We have not yet had any transfers take place under that agreement, but we continue to pursue that. There is a mutual legal assistance treaty also on criminal matters, which is under negotiation between the two countries. So this is an important area of discussion between us, and it's allotted the highest priority in discussions at every level between the two countries. I'm sure this will be high on the agenda during the forthcoming visit as well. Your other question on Pakistan's misuse of the OIC, it's a habit of long standing, one that we have regularly spoken out against. and also raised with our friends and partners in the OIC. There is a certain view about these shenanigans that Pakistan practices in the OIC on the part of our colleagues and friends amongst the other members of the OIC, but we will continue to share our views and bring to their attention what exactly we think of these attempts that Pakistan habitually makes. Keshav's question on BRICS during the meeting, can't say really whether it will come up in any substantive manner. As you are aware, Saudi Arabia was offered membership. It has not attended at all the levels and in all the forums that BRICS has. We continue to remain engaged with Saudi Arabia to try and gauge and understand their approach to the organization, and I think we'll wait for further developments and for Saudi authorities to share with us how exactly they see their evolving role in this organization. I think we have maybe a couple more.
Aisha.
Thank you, yes, sir. Excellency, this is Aisha Maitro. Prime Minister is slated to visit in a fast reforming country where they're erupting their mega project. You mentioned two words, mega project and entertainment as well as media. So it's in the realm of that. But the NEOM project is about 8.8 trillion project. Will India be engaged anyway? Will it accommodate its employees, upskills, or AI scientists there? And also, if you could kindly answer, what sort of discussion will be there post USAID that are with the philanthropic agencies, as well as with the philanthropic agencies, as well as with the entertainment catering industries from India?
Akhilesh.
सर डीडी न्यूज़ से मैं अखिलेश सुमन। सर जैसा कि आपने बताया कि सेकेंड लार्जेस्ट डायस्पोरा है सऊदी अरब में और वहाँ भारत के काफ़ी श्रमिक काम करते हैं, तो क्या प्रधानमंत्री जी वहाँ क्राउन प्रिंस के साथ भारतीय श्रमिकों की वहाँ स्थिति है उसके बारे में भी कोई बात करेंगे?
Manas.
This is Manas from PTI Press Trust of India. To your left, yeah. So this is this is again relating to Saudi Arabia's announcement in 2019 during Crown Prince's visit to invest USD 100 billion in India in strategic sectors, including energy sector. So what is the status? And there is a plan also, in fact a decision to set up a joint working group to channelize the planned investments in various sectors in India. Has the JWG was formed, and if yes, in fact, what are the recommendations, how it is actually looking at the planned investments by Saudi Arabia? Could you just throw some light on that?
Last question, yeah.
Thank you. While Awad from Arab Media, actually, my question is regarding the defense relation between India and Saudi Arabia in terms of the regional security arrangement in the region. Will it be more of an Indian presence in the region there, if warships and all? And if you can highlight the Indian will be talking also with the Crown Prince in regards to the ongoing talk between India and the United States, because the defense minister of Saudi Arabia was recently in Tehran, and so for prime important to see that there is a tranquility and peace in the region. Thank you.
Sir. Okay. So on the developments that are taking place in Saudi Arabia in a number of fields, and you referred to NEOM, which is one of the so-called giga projects that is being pursued by the kingdom. So I would say that there is definitely potential for engagement. In fact, there is already engagement taking place on that project and on several other similar projects in the country. Indian companies are already present across diverse sectors in Saudi Arabia, such as engineering, procurement and construction, contracting, oil and gas, telecommunications, IT, technology services, financial services, pharmaceuticals, etc. And a number of our large companies such as L&T, Tata's, construction companies such as Shapurji Palanji and others have already established a presence and are already involved in several of these projects in one way or the other. So I think that aspect is well and truly underway already. And on the entertainment front as well, you're right, Saudi Arabia is paying attention to this particular issue. And as you would be aware, we have a major event that we will be hosting, the World Audiovisual and Entertainment Summit in India in Mumbai early next month, and we've been in discussions with Saudi Arabia as well, and I fully expect that we will host a high-level official delegation from Saudi Arabia for this summit, which will help to build bridges in the media and entertainment industries between our two countries. It will not just enable and facilitate more access to content from each other's countries, but also open the doors for joint production projects and initiatives between the two countries. सुमन, आपका जो सवाल है ये डायस्पोरा और भारतीय श्रमिक जो हैं सऊदी अरेबिया में, क्या उनके बारे में बातचीत होगी। मैंने पहले ही जैसे कहा कि ये एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण विषय है और दोनों देशों के बीच में कई स्तरों पे इस विषय पे बातचीत चलती रहती है और चाहे समिट लेवल हो या मंत्री लेवल पे हो या अफसरों के स्तर पे हो, ये एक ऐसा विषय है जिन पे रोज़ाना ही बात होती है। और मुझे विश्वास है, जैसे मैंने कहा, अब की बारी प्रधानमंत्री जब जाएंगे तो वो एक फैक्ट्री प्रोजेक्ट में जाएंगे जहाँ पे भारतीय कार्मिक वहाँ पे हैं, कारीगर वहाँ पे हैं, उनसे मिलेंगे, उनसे बातचीत करेंगे, उनके हाल के बारे में पूछेंगे। तो ये तो एक मुझे ऐसा प्रतीत होता है कि ये विषय अब की बारी जो यात्रा होने वाली है उसमें भी ये विषय उठाया जाएगा। On Manas, your question on I addressed this earlier. Look, I mean, there is the prospect of significant investment from Saudi Arabia. There are a few procedural issues that Saudi Arabia had raised with regard to the environment in which the Saudi businesses, and principally insofar as this kind of investment is concerned, Saudi sovereign wealth funds, for instance, would invest in India. There are certain issues that they had raised, and we have worked very constructively on those issues. The joint working group that you referred to, I think what you are referring to is the high-level task force on investment. The HLTFI was set up in October 2023, and it had its first meeting last year. Since then, it has had several meetings, both physically as well as virtually. It is led, as you are aware, by the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister on the Indian side and the Energy Minister of Saudi Arabia on the other side. And then there is an executive level also where it is led by the CEO of Niti Aayog on the Indian side and a counterpart on the Saudi side. They have had a number of meetings. As I said, in the course of these meetings, several issues have been raised with regard to the overall ecosystem and the environment in which the investment is to take place. We have approach these issues with a very open mind, and we have assured our Saudi friends about addressing their concerns, about giving them the kind of treatment that they, or their investments, the kind of treatment that we give to other valued partners in the region in this particular aspect. And some of these discussions are continuing. As I said, therefore, watch this space. We should see some developments in this area take place as well. And finally, to this question on what the defense cooperation holds, I mentioned that we are attempting to give more substance to the partnership. The opening of defense procurement is one major area, but the setting up of an architecture through which or on the basis of which the two countries engage with each other at leadership level and at the professional operational level as well is going to be an area of attention in the months and years ahead. There will be, of course, exchanges without necessarily there being a regional presence in, if I got you right. There will be a continuing exchanges in terms of between the services of the two countries, all of which have dedicated staff talks that they pursue. So we'll see a number of, I think, important developments in this field in the coming years. And insofar as discussions between other regional partners and Saudi Arabia are concerned, and discussions between India and some of its other strategic partners are concerned, I'm sure that the upcoming visit will give the opportunity to the leaders to exchange perspectives on these issues and see where we are headed on this particular front. Thank you.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the close of this press briefing. Thank you very much for your presence.
All right, and that was a live press conference by the Ministry of External Affairs on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Saudi Arabia's Jeddah on 22nd and 23rd of this month. There'll be lots and lots of engagements of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The ties between the two countries have strengthened over the years. This would be the third visit by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi after 2016 and 2019, and as far as the engagements are concerned, then there would be one-on-one meeting with the Crown Prince, also ceremonial welcome. Certain MOUs will also be signed, and like I just said, that the bilateral relations between both the countries have strengthened over the years. You stay tuned. News and updates will continue. You stay tuned to DD India, and also India's literary masterpieces Ved Vyas's Bhagavad Gita and Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra have been inscribed in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register. The Gita offers spiritual and philosophical guidance to life and relationships, while Natya Shastra is a seminal text on performing arts. Both texts highlight India's timeless wisdom and cultural richness, now globally recognized as part of humanity's shared heritage. DD India's Mihir Maikuri reports.
In the vast timeline of human civilization, many have risen and fallen, but only a handful have left an indelible mark on human evolution. Among them stands the Indian civilization, whose profound contributions to philosophy and performing arts echo through time. Now, two of its greatest treasures, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the Natya Shastra, have earned a place in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register, a prestigious archive of humanity's most treasured intellectual heritage. Prime Minister Modi hailed the achievement as a proud moment for every Indian across the world. He posted on X, The inclusion of the Gita and Natya Shastra in UNESCO's Memory of the World Register is a global recognition of our timeless wisdom and rich culture. The Gita and Natya Shastra have nurtured civilization and consciousness for centuries. Their insights continue to inspire the world. With the addition of these ancient manuscripts, the total number of Indian scriptures on UNESCO's Memory of the World list now stands at 14. Now let's delve into these literary works to understand what makes these two ancient texts global treasures. First, the Bhagavad Gita. Written between 400 BCE and 200 BCE, the Gita is part of the epic Mahabharata. Gita presents a powerful 700-verse dialogue between Lord Krishna and warrior Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna's moral crisis and Krishna's counsel continue to resonate in today's world of emotional burnout. From selfless leadership to performing duty or karma without attachment, the Gita offers timeless tools for clarity in chaos. Gita is studied today in management schools, psychology circles, and military academies worldwide. Next, Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra, a Sanskrit treatise composed between 200 BCE and 200 CE, covering theatre, dance, music, and emotions. Spanning 36 chapters and over 6,000 verses, Natya Shastra codifies every element of performance. Natya Shastra forms the backbone of Indian classical arts, influencing Bharatnatyam, Kathak, and countless folk traditions. Even today, it serves as a guiding light for actors, dancers, playwrights, and performers globally. With UNESCO spotlighting these timeless masterpieces, it's more than a cultural win. It's a resounding tribute to India's eternal wisdom and artistic genius. Mihir Makri for DD India.
That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.